I guess but for the Flames, there's three absolutely, and maybe four, but three for sure. I have untouchable prospects at this point. Dustin Wolf is a no go.
Hmm.
Connor Mackey would be a no go for me, and Jacob Pelche is a no go for me at this point. Those are guys I like in terms of like building the future. That's where those three guys you're building around. I'm open to the idea of Connor Zary. I wouldn't like it. I'm not super comfortable with the idea of Matthew Coronado, but I also don't know if he's going to sign here. So, um, because college players in Calgary don't always get along. So that's the one thing I would be concerned about. But he's a legit player, though. If I'm giving up Matthew Coronado, I want a lot for him.
And you are
I
getting it with Chychrun, so
It depends. In my mind, it really depends on, okay, if you give up one of those prospects, I feel like you can get potentially a better forward, which is what they're looking for. Like goes back, like to me, this brings a full circle back to Kevin's original question. They need better scoring on, especially in that second line. I'm sorry, it's not good enough right now. And yeah, everybody has potential there, but they haven't shown it this year.
So, would you call up Jacob Pelche?
Oh, yes, but not yet. I would call him up at the very latest beginning of March. And if he does well at the beginning of March, because that should be when the Flames are ticking and they should be on the uphill spike. And if they're not trending towards the playoffs, it's hard to turn that switch on. And I feel like if they are middling, then yeah, I think you do. He hasn't played any games this year, right? So I think that would be good for him, but not yet.
Yeah. What can I guess? I mean, I guess the one of the other reasons I said puck moving defenseman is I don't think with Sutter's system, I think he's not worried about. I mean, he's worried about goals, but he's not worried about goals. If that makes any sense, like he wants enough goals. Like he wants 3 goals. As long as we don't allow more, the Flames don't allow more than 3 goals. I think he's fine, right? But I think overall that's sort of why. But and I guess, but it depends on the forward. Um,
Yep.
I mean, I threw out the name in the offseason of Claude Giroux as a possibility. Now that is might come up here, maybe depending on where the Flyers are at. And I'm not saying the Flames should be in on Claude Giroux, but I mean, I would think that if you're going to get a scorer, it has to be a top 6 forward. I don't think it's a bottom 6 guy. I think it's a guy that that plays in that top 6.
If the Flames are going for that, there has to be a borderline first liner who can help make that second line what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, the defense is adequate enough to sustain, in my mind, what they need to do. It's just that, yeah, it has to be a second line border first line forward. It has to be. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. You were like Sean's favorite saying on this podcast, you're just shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic. Like it's pointless.
Yeah, so that I think it's interesting. I mean, I suspect that the Flames come Ottawa. I think we may see some shuffling of the deck chairs per se. Not saying it's on the Titanic, but I wonder if they start switching that first line around, getting some offense or created there. You have to. I guess Sean Monahan is a very interesting question because he hasn't got going yet. I think he's doing a lot of things right, but I think they need him to score. I'm not worried about Blake Coleman and his scoring because I don't necessarily think that they brought him in to make sure that he would get a lot of goals. I know that people are frustrated by that. But I think he just does so many other things right that I'm not worried about Blake Coleman. Majapani is doing fine. They need more from Dylan Dubé, and they need some offense from the fourth line. And so I think, that's why I think people are asking for Ruzicka and Pelche because they could provide that offense. I wonder if we see Pelche. I would say maybe with Pelche, I'm thinking mid-February we see him.
That's fair.
If he keeps it up, I think it's hard. It'd be hard to keep him down there for much longer.
Yeah, you just don't want to. I guess I don't really see the like a bad scenario if he does come up like now or next game or the next 3 games. But I think that with Daryl Sutter and the way that he conducts himself, I think it'll be later on in the season, and hopefully Pelche or Ruzicka is able to step up, because we know that if they can't, they're not going to get the ice time. Like, Sutter won't give them the ice time, especially if they screw up a few times in a game. They're going to be on the 4th line easily enough.
And that's probably where they'll be.